Hello friends, in this video of Principles and Practices of Management, we would be covering motivation, that is of Unit 4, Module 2. Under motivation, we would be covering its needs, importance, extrinsic, intrinsic motivation, major motivation theories, etc. To start with motivation, what is motivation? Basically, it is derived from the word motive. It is defined as an inner state of our mind that activates and directs our behavior. It makes us move to act. Motivation is something that moves the person to action and continues him in the course of action already initiated. According to Robbins, motivation is the willingness to exert high level of efforts towards the organizational goal, conditioned by the efforts and ability to satisfy some individual needs. So basically, motivation is the act of stimulating someone or oneself to get a desired course of action or to push the right button to get a desired action. So basically, motivation is the state of readiness of individuals to achieve organizational goals. Let's come to the importance of motivation. So the nature of motivation says it's a basic motive. It's a goal-directed behavior. It is related to satisfaction. It is a person is motivated in totality. It's a complex process. And why motivation is important is because it leads to high performance level of the employees and the organization later on. It leads to low employee turnover and absenteeism. The employee accepts the organizational change. There is maximum cooperation. There is better industrial relations. It ensures achievement of organization goal, etc. This is the motivation process, that is, there is a need and a motive which leads to reward, and there is a behavior to achieve that reward. Okay, so let's come to the types of motivation. Basically, there are two types of major types of motivation, that is the intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is basically the inner reward, and the motivation to engage in behavior arises from within the individual because it is naturally satisfying to him. It does not come from tangible stuffs that you can touch and take. It has to do with something because you want to do it, because you want to learn a new skill, because you have the thirst for knowledge. That is basically the intrinsic motivation, like acceptance, curiosity, honor, independence, order, power, social contact, social status, etc. Whereas the extrinsic rewards are basically money, praises, awards, etc. So it has to do with the performance goal, where recognition is coming from some kind of outside forces. There are some minor kind of motivations also, which is like the reward-based motivation, fear-based, achievement-based motivation, power-based motivation, affiliation-based motivation, or competency and attitude-based motivation. Let's come to the motivation theory, which is basically divided into two, that is the content theory and the process theory. In content theory, we would be covering Maslow's need hierarchy theory and Herzberg's two-factor, that is the motivation and hygiene theory. Under process theory, we would be covering Rome's expectancy theory. To start with the first, that is the Herzberg's two-factor theory, it says it is also Herzberg concluded that there are two categories of factors emerging from job conditions, that is the hygiene factor and the motivating factor. He said hygiene factors are also known as the maintenance factors, and he said they are those factors which are not intrinsic part of a job, but they are related to the conditions under which a job is performed. So these factors are company policies, administration, technical supervision, interpersonal relationship with subordinates, salary, job security, personal life, work conditions, status, etc. So they are factors, not motivating factors, but they are only preventing low performances due to job restrictions. So these factors are necessary to maintain at a reasonable level of satisfaction in the employee. So they are also called the dissatisfiers, as absent of these will not provide any satisfaction to employees. Whereas the motivating factors are the factors which lead to satisfaction and motivation of employees to work harder. Examples are you are enjoying your work, you are feeling recognized, or there is a career progressions. So let us come to the second, that is the Maslow's need hierarchy theory. As it says, Maslow has divided, it says motivating people depends on their needs, and those needs can be arranged in a hierarchy, and this is the hierarchy which can be seen on the screen. He said it is divided into the initial one is the physiological needs, which arises out of the basic psychology, physiology, life, that is the need for the food, water, air, and if when these needs are satisfied to a partial level, then it continues survival. The second need is the security need, which is both economical security and physiological, psychological security, like protection from the layoff, dismissal, disaster, avoidance of the unexpected, etc. The social needs are the needs which are associated with the people and to be accepted by them, to love or to be loved, etc. The fourth need is the egoistic or the esteem needs, and these needs are the needs which are related to respect and prestige. So a need for dominance might be thought as egoistic needs. For esteem needs are two types, like self-esteem and esteem for others. The last one need is the self-fulfillment or self-actualization needs, and these needs are realizing one's potential, and these includes the need for realizing one's capabilities to the fullest, for accomplishing what one is capable of accomplishing, for becoming what one is capable of becoming. Like a musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write. So there are a few critics about this need hierarchy theory. It says it lacks there is a lack of need hierarchy and the need hierarchy as it's suggested by the Maslow, because the needs of the people vary from person to person, and there is no direct cause and effect relationship between the need and the behavior, and the people try to satisfy their next higher order needs when his low order need is reasonably satisfied. What is the reason? What is the reasonable level? What Maslow has mentioned. Well, the third theory which we would be covering is the expectancy theory, which says according to Rome, people will be motivated to do things to achieve some goals to the extent that they expect that certain actions of their part will help them to achieve the goal. So basically it is noticed it is basically people choose to behave how to behave depending on the outcome what they expect as a result of their behavior. In other words, like we decide what to do based on what we expect the outcome to be. At work it might be that we work longer hours because we expect a pay rise, etc. So the expectancy theory is based on three concepts, that is the valency, instrumentality and expectancy. To start with valency, it says it is a value you place on the reward, means the strength of an individual's preferences to a particular outcome. Like promotion is the outcome valuable to the employee. The instrumentality, it says it is believed that you will receive a reward if you meet performances expected, means it is a first level outcome in obtaining a desired second level outcome. Like assuming that an individual desires promotion and feels that a superior performance is a very strong factor in achieving the promotion. So superior performance is the first level need, and whereas the performance is the resultant or the second level need. Fine. Outcome. So let's come to the expectancy. It says it is a belief that your your efforts will result in your desired goal, and this is based on your past performance experiences. So your self-confidence and how difficult you think the goal is to be achieved. So expectancy is the probability that a particular action will lead to a particular first level outcome. Like an employee may find out the probability of putting the required superior performances. So thus the strength of motivation to perform a certain act will depend on the sum of the products of the values for the outcome times the expected. So implication of this theory, that is expectancy theory, is that it is consistent with the idea that a manager's job is to design an environment for performances, necessarily taking into account the difference in the various situations. So this theory is consistent with BPO's, MBO, that is management by objectives. However, Vroom's theory is difficult to research and apply in practice. Benefits of motivation is, if a person is motivated, it leads to need satisfaction, job satisfaction, productivity, learning and discipline. So for how a motivating climate can be created by, it can be created by conditions where the workers' energies are not extended totally in meeting their basic needs. So a climate for interdependence, dependent work relation then dependency, a competitive climate through a recognition of good work, or a productive climate through personal example, or a climatic approach or a problem solving rather than avoidance. Motivate individually through guidance and counseling. So how can a manager play a role for creating a motivational environment is through recognize each worker as a unique individual who is motivated by different things. Identify the individual and collective value system of the unit, and implement a reward system that is consistent with those values. So, identify unmet needs that can cause dissatisfaction, or encourage workers to stretch themselves to an efforts to promote self growth and self actualization, or encourage motivation, sponsorship, coaching with subordinates, or devote time and energy to create a climate that is supportive and encouraging to the discouraged employees, etc. That's all in this module. Thank you so much.